Hey, I just want to say thank you everyone for tuning in. We got a nice live stream here. We got Keith, we got Matt at Fantasy Salesman, Matt, Sodak Fantasy Guy, Keith, and at Sack Sports over here, David. We're really excited to be here. We'll take a quick moment and shout out to everyone who got us here in terms of listeners, followers, and everyone. Just America had a crazy day yesterday. We had 9/11, very historical, relevant day, and we're here to celebrate some football today. So we're excited about that. These troops to make it everything possible. And without further ado, let's talk a little bit about our start sits. And some of our favorites. We're gonna name the top quarterback we liked this week, the top running back we like, the top tight end, and the top wide receiver that we like, each one of us. So it might be a top tier guy, or it might be like a week one good matchup. But we will go ahead and start with that. Keith, you want to go ahead and give some of your locks?
You bet, you bet. So, guys, I'll kick it off right off the top with the quarterback, and this week I'm going to go with some deeper dives as we go through this. So, starting off at the quarterback spot, I really like what we're going to get out of Trevor Lawrence today. I think week one, rookie quarterback going against what will probably be the worst defense in the NFL with the Texans. And also, I expect them to get plenty of opportunity on the offense side of the ball, plenty of possessions. I just Houston's an absolute dumpster fire. So I think the opportunity, and I think Urban Meyer wants to come out week one and kind of establish, a dominant showing here today. I'm going to go ahead and put, my expectation for a 300-yard day out of T-Law, and I think we're going to see at least 3 total touchdowns. We're going to probably get two through the air, 1 on the ground. But I really think Urban's going to try and establish, a big showing for him week one out of the gate and prove that he belongs and prove that they belong. So that's my quarterback lock of the week. A little bit deeper dive for you.
I like it.
Going off of that, I got James Robinson as my RB. I think a lot of us drafted him around probably like RB3. I think this week he's going to be a little safety blanket for J Law. And we're going to see good production out of him. And I'd be comfortable putting him in my RB2 spot.
I like
it. Nice. Very, very, very nice. Okay. Let's see. Keith went QB. Matt went RB. I think I'll also go with QB. And I'm going to say, I know there's been a lot of hype all season. And there's been some ebbs and flows to last season, but I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. I have him in a bunch of leagues. I'm starting him with confidence. He's playing in a dome against Atlanta Falcons. I think that game could be high scoring. I think there could be a lot of big plays. I think Devontae Smith gets loose for a touchdown. I think Goddard gets a few catches. I think Miles Sanders runs for crazy a little bit. And I think Jalen Hurts shows why they got rid of Carson Wentz, and he proves that he's a legitimate player in this league with the first couple weeks. So I'm going to go Jalen Hurts with the QB. Let's see. How about what do you got next for us, Keith?
So next, I'm going to go ahead to my running back spot, and as the 49ers fan of the group, got the shirt on, repping here week one. Love Raheem Mostert coming out of the gate, knowing that, we pretty much wrapped him in bubble wrap all preseason and said, hey, keep this guy healthy till we get going. I think, realistically, we're not going to see a ton of touches. I think, forecast him for about 12 to 15. But you're going to see those big play potential mixed in there. Week one of last year, he popped one for about 75 yards and a score. That's what Raheem can bring to the table. He's got a lot of juice in the legs there. He's a 4-3 guy. So expect 12 to 15 touches out of him. But definitely over 100 total yards on the day, and at least 1 tub, possibly 2. That's my RB lock. And in that same game, expect to see some Jermichael Hasty. I believe we've been with an announced inactive for Trey Sermon today. And with that announcement of the inactive on Trey Sermon, I expect to see Jermichael Hasty get some work. Okay. The Niners, especially with Garoppolo in there, we don't see a lot of, a big distance A-dot from him. They'll keep it controlled close to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to pound the rock today. So I'm expecting both the backs to be serviceable. Hasty in your flex. Mostert with RB1 upside, definitely high-end RB2 today production.
Very nice. Very nice. How about you, Matt?
QB, I'm going Ryan Tannehill, number 11 quarterback last season. It's going to be a shootout with Arizona.
Pew, pew, pew,
Kyler
pew.
Murray's going to be coming out. Tannehill's going to need to keep up. They're typically a run-first offense, but this week, it's going to be a really strong week for Tannehill, and you're going to be happy you got him in the later rounds of your draft.
When Tannehill gets hot, he gets scorching hot. I'm talking about 3 TDs, 300+ yards. I really like that pick, Matt. I really do a lot, and especially with the matchup, first game of the season. I think Tannehill's going to come out gunslinging. Yeah, they have Derrick Henry, but they're going to have to throw to Julio Jones and AJ Brown. Why not? They got some great players like that. For me, I'll go to running back, and I'm going to go with a guy who was named captain for his football team for the first time, Joe Mixon. I know he's burned a lot of people in the past, but I think this is at least this first part of the season, he's going to show why he has been a top player in this league at some point. And, I think he has the ability to catch the ball, run the ball. He's shown that he can put up a lot of yards, even without a touchdown. But I think he scores a touchdown. I think he goes over 100 all-purpose yards. And I think that he gives Minnesota some headaches. I almost went Joe Burrow for my quarterback because I think Joe Burrow's going to have to throw the ball as well. But, yeah, I'm going to go Joe Mixon on this one. Where are we at, Keith? What's the next one?
So, as we look at it and, we start getting a little bit deeper with it, looking at that tight end spot, I'm gonna go ahead and flip towards our Sunday night games and our Monday night games and bring up two cats here at the tight end spot. Mark Andrews tomorrow night in that Ravens-Raiders game. I think he's going to go absolutely ballistic from the tight end spot. Yes, he's a high-end tight end. He's pretty much ranked on about every week one rankings panel at about number 4 behind the big 3, but that is for good reason. I mean, the offensive onslaught that has happened to the Ravens in terms of the backfield being absolutely decimated and the wide receiver core having basically zero preseason action with, Bateman being down until probably October, Sammy Watkins being in and out all preseason. Lamar Jackson is simply going to lean on that security blanket. I think tomorrow night, Mark Andrews probably sees a career high in terms of targets. I think he can probably look at career high in receptions. I mean, I think tomorrow night's his night. He's like the last man standing from an offensive perspective. But I am absolutely jacked at the same time because I've got him in our Superflex league that the three of us are all in together. So I'm going to hype him up, and see if my belief in him will also boost that Superflex lineup come tomorrow night. And then tonight we've got, the Rams-Bears game. Higbee going up against the Bears. Stafford has shown that traditionally that he favors that tight end spot. Think about what he did with Hawkinson. And even before that, Ebron way back in the day. So Higbee's got a great matchup going with it, and I think we'll see some good things out of him tonight as well. So a couple tight ends, both primetime players for you tonight and tomorrow night.
Very nice, very nice. I like those two picks, man. I think that both have the ability to smash their, just smash their ADPs, especially Higbee. He's got the ability to be top 10 easily, especially with Stafford behind the reign, running that offense. How about you, Matt? What do you got going on? Oh, next.
I'm gonna go Brandon Ayuk for Keith's Niners.
Niner Nation, huh?
He's gonna come out this week and I think he'll have a great game and start off this season to become the number 1 wide receiver for the Niners. He has a cake matchup against the Lions, and I think he'll get the targets to prove that he's going to be a solid guy going forward for your teams.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best players after the catch. He's just so dangerous. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he can score from anywhere on the field. He's got the speed, the ability to, the vision, kind of like Debo Samuel and George Kittle too. Like they just get those guys who, after the catch, they're so dangerous, and
Yeah.
you can't understate that part. For me, I will go with wide receiver, and I'm gonna go with a boring but a very solid pick. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen. I think he goes over 100 yards, and I think he gets a touchdown against a weak Cincinnati defense. I think that, there's going to be a lot of hype on Justin Jefferson, but I think Thielen is going to be a player that scores over 10 TDs again this year. And he shows why he's just one of the best route runners that we have in the league. And, he's such a good story. He went from, I think, a small Minnesota college to working his way up to being a number one wide receiver, and he's done it against all the odds. So I have nothing but respect for the guy. I love his work ethic, and I think he has an amazing game today.
Yeah, we're coming from D2, Minnesota State
Man,
Mankato for Adam Thielen. Midwestern shout out right there for you.
Midwest swang over there, man. Shout out to Thielen, man. Shout out to Thielen. What do we got next, Keith?
So, wide receiver wise, the thing that's tough, I think, as we look at it, and it's a good situation to be in, and everybody's talked about it, just how deep the position is, I think we're going to see any of those top 36 guys have the potential to leap up and down the boards as we go through. But I'm going to stick with that Vikings Bengals game. Okay. But Tyler Boyd, the third wheel of that group. Okay. Tyler Boyd, I think, is going to have a big game today. Predominantly listed in that wide receiver 3 range. I think most sites rank him around 32 to 36. I went back and forth on when I started kind of looking at this game. I knew I wanted to target it basically because, as we talked about, we've got Thielen in there. Dalvin Cook's going to do his thing. Cousins is extremely efficient. So we're looking at a shootout, and we know, Burrow averaged over 40 pass attempts a game last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, in those first 10 weeks, the production that Tyler Boyd did put up, okay? And now you've got Jamar Chase, who's also going to be on the outside there. And so, when he's got Higgins and Chase on the outside, and he can just freely roam the middle of the field between the numbers, between the hashes, as that slot receiver security blanket. And Burrow has the tendency, even from his college days, to really favor the slot receiver. Expect Tyler Boyd to potentially lead that wide receiver room today in terms of production. I think we're talking anywhere in the range of 6 to 8 catches, close to 100 yards. Because, again, we're not going to see a ton of yardage out of this. But PPR, full point PPR, 6 to 8 catches, close to 100 yards, and a tub from Tyler Boyd today.
And yeah, that's a steal at where you probably got him in your ADP, everybody. Tyler Boyd is somebody who has already had 2 1,000-yard seasons, and last year he came pretty close without Joe Burrow. So I expect nothing but good things from him. How about you, Matt? What do you got going on?
I'm going tight end, Gerald Everett.
Ooh, I like that a lot. I really like that a lot.
I think a lot of us got him in the late rounds, maybe as our bench tight end. This week on a new team with Russell Wilson. Russell knows how to get it to his tight ends, his big targets, Metcalf, Everett. And this week's matchup against the Colts, it just solidifies that passing offense. And we're going to see in the first half Everett get the usage needed for a start this week. So I think it's a pretty good selection right now, even if you get him off the waivers.
Gerald Everett is going to be a week 1 waiver ad. I guarantee you that, everybody. You heard it there first from Matt Fantasy Salesman. Go add Gerald Everett before it's too late, because everyone else is going to be adding him after week 1, and you may have to use some of your budget. Got him on several of my teams, and I like that.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I just want to kind of piggyback, if I can, real quick on that selection. I think Matt's absolutely money with it. Chris Carson is going to be slowed down today. You're talking about a Colts defense I think basically over the last 2 seasons, that's allowed, like, I believe, one 100-yard rushing back. So expect Russ to cook, expect him to go to the air. And I love that pick. I love that Gerald Everett action right there. Somebody that's come off the board all summer long at like wide receiver 17 to 20. And definitely, I think we're talking top 12 day to day. So awesome pick, man. Awesome.
Yeah, applesauce to your lunch, man. That is a great pick. Makes me smile. I'm gonna go with, I think that there's two amazing tight ends going head to head in the 49ers versus the Lions game. And George Kittle is obviously the, household name, but I think a lot of people come next year are going to be knowledgeable about who TJ Hawkinson is. He's got a lot of hype, being like probably the best pass catcher for Jared Goff. And I'll even take it even a step further and say that he's probably the only formidable pass catcher for Jared Goff. And I think that when you got to force feed him against a defense that is stingy, they're going to come after you early and often. They find ways to attack the quarterback to where you're going to have to release the ball quick. You're going to have to look for that tight end, that safety blanket. And TJ Hawkinson is going to get more than 10 targets today. I'm not sure if he'll eclipse 100 yards, but I think he does have a touchdown. So fire up TJ Hawkinson in DFS. Fire up TJ. He's going for 4,900 on DraftKings. I have him in one of my lineups, so I'm excited about that. And with any edge you can have when you know that the 49ers are going to probably beat the dog shit out of the Detroit Lions and smack their ass and call them Sally. I think that you're going to have a player out there who goes out and gets first downs, and that's going to be TJ Hawkinson. So feel really good about going out there and starting TJ Hawkinson. I think that fantasy wise, he'll be good this week and probably for the whole year. So there you go. Did we do our? I think we got all of our pit locks done, right, guys? Nice.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep.
So should we rock with some of those questions that were coming in, Matt?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do some.
What do we got?
Sick questions.
I know there's been some interesting ones coming in.
Yeah, a lot of people. First week, baby.
Everyone's excited, man. I don't blame them. Everyone wants to get that week 1 win, start off the season right.
I tell you what, coming off Thursday night, depending on what you put in there in your lineup, if you had Bucks Cowboys going, you are sitting absolutely phenomenal. If you had Cooper or Chris Godwin, or maybe even threw Gronk in there, and on the flip side, if you rolled with Zeke, obviously you have to roll with him because he was probably a top 5 pick in most of your drafts. But you're either up big after Thursday night, or you are trying to climb out of one massive hole thanks to Zeke. So it'll be interesting.
Tom Brady as well.
Questions.
Tom Brady and Dak did wonders as well, and CD. So yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree, man. So hopefully these questions can help you guys out. Everyone out there, feel free to hit us up too.
All right, first question: wide receiver, Odell Beckham or Debo Samuel?
This is an interesting question because within the last several years, it'd be smash answer Odell Beckham, but I think that over the coming off an ACL injury, being not in a run heavy team, or being in a run heavy team is the Cleveland Browns, and Debo Samuel is also had his own injury concerns. I would normally go say easily Odell Beckham, and I will say Odell Beckham again today, but my reasoning is a little bit different. It's because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think that they're going to have to score a lot of points. I think they will run the ball, but I think that Odell may get some play action, touchdown, return to greatness kind of thing, and he may not get a lot of catches, but I think that he has opportunities to make some big splash plays. And when you're in a shootout, you better have your guns blazing. So I will go Odell Beckham, but I really, on a normal day, I might really go Debo on that one. What say you guys?
All right, so I'm going to flip you. Okay, I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to throw a little caveat in here, though, because obviously we don't know what the rest of this lineup looks like that we're dealing with, in terms of this question. But if you feel like you need a floor okay, if you don't need, the upside, I'd take Debo this week, and it's completely because we still don't know what we're going to get out of Odell. Exactly like you mentioned, coming off the ACL, there's talk that they ease him in today. There's talk basically that they're going to wait until warmups to even determine if he is a go.
Yeah.
So that is a tough call, knowing that that's an afternoon game, and obviously with the Lions game here is an early game, so you've got to make that decision early. If it was me and it was simply needing the floor, feeling good about the rest of the lineup, I would take Debo because Debo's coming into today. He's healthy, and again, we're talking about the relationship that Garoppolo has with Debo, the numbers that Debo's put up with a healthy Garoppolo, and the way that offense flows. He might be catching the ball within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage, but he flat gets it done after the catch. So I would take Debo this week if it was me.
Yeah, I originally had Odell as a start this week as my lock, but the issues with whether he'll play or not, it pulls me off of him. And honestly, between Odell and Landry, I believe Landry is a better fantasy option this season. Just more consistent. He always gets targets, and I think he's as athletic, if not more, than Odell. So I'm gonna go with Debo on this one.
I like how you guys said Debo because I was really close to going there. And the other part that I'll add to Debo, what I really like about him is that he always gets like a fly sweep, or he gets like a rushing attempt every game, it feels like. And it feels like he gets like 10 or 15 yards, makes a big, like, very momentum play, and then he feeds off that energy when he catches the ball and makes another big play. So I see that happening again against a weak Detroit defense, and him, making big splash plays like that. So very good calls, guys. I really like that. What do we got next?
All right, so we're gonna sit one for this one. Uh, Swift, Mike Davis, or Chase Claypool.
Ow. I'll go first here. I tell you what, the only reason I'm going to do it is because it literally just flashed on my screen like 5 minutes ago as I'm watching NFL Game Day Morning here at the same time as we're going, so I can keep an eye on the news. The expectation, and it's been talked about for the last couple of days, actually, the expectation is for Jamal Williams to kind of carry the load in the Lions' backfield here, week one. We've got two things kind of holding up the DeAndre Swift train right now. One is the groin, obviously. So there's already talk he's going to be limited, and now of course we've got all the crazy rumors, on the other end. So expect Jamal Williams. Plus the fact that this wasn't a great matchup to begin with going against the Niners. I think we're going to end up in a game script situation where you're just not going to see a lot of action on the ground. And Jamal Williams is perfectly capable as that pass catching back. So I expect to see Swift be pretty well shelved in this game once the blowout starts to happen. They have no reason to really keep him in there, and put further risk to that groin and whatnot. So Swift is actually my sit out of that group with
I
confidence.
second that.
And the options were Swift, Claypool, and
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. Yeah, I will say that I do like Mike Davis this week in the this is Philadelphia. I think that Claypool is always even against Buffalo. I think that Tre'Davious White is gonna lock in on probably probably Deontay Johnson, and so I think Claypool will have a lot of opportunities. Him and Juju this week, and they're going to have to score some points against Buffalo. So with that more competitive of a game, I will lean to those two as well. But probably next week moving forward, I'm always going Swift. But so just this week, everyone, be specific to the context, what Keith stated, and with the injury to the groin, to the unknown role that he will have in the probably the negative game script. We're gonna sit Swift at this point. But remember, this is all context. And week two, I'm probably gonna say Swift, light him up in the rosters, get him going. Put him in the Chevy, put that premium gas in there, and get it going, baby. What
Go
what
to
do we
the
got
next one.
next?
Oh, some of these are ugly.
Yeah, some of those flex options get tough, and that's why they're asking us, to give them some reassurance, some love, some affection, some, hey, it's going to be okay.
I tell you, that's a tough thing though, because they're either going to get reassurances from us that they
Or
got the right
question
guy, or we're
marks.
going to go the opposite. They're going to be like, "Oh boy, what do I do?"
Yeah. I mean, and in fantasy football, man, it's, we can say that, mathematically and analytically, the guy that's going to be probably have the better game, but it's football and anything can happen any given Sunday, and somebody can break off
Yeah.
with a big play. And, don't hate us if some guy, does terrible or some guy does amazing that we didn't pick, because it's football and anything can happen. These are professional athletes.
Mhm.
They've been training their whole life for this. They're all good. Every player in the NFL is good. Everybody, So, but for more times than not, we do make the good decision, and we're going to give you what we would do in our own lineups. And we have a lot of money running on these games. I know for me, like I do, I could upward win a couple thousands of dollars. So I take this very seriously, and I really try to give you guys what I can do. And I know Keith and Matt as well try to give you the best knowledge they can.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes they're just like, I don't know, it's a toss up. I'm sitting here with my quarter to flip the coin. Um, how about T. Higgins or Mike Davis PPR?
Man, that's a great question.
That
Um,
is.
for me, I I think that there's three good, wide receivers over there. I think all three can do really good. But I think Mike Davis is, set in stone to have a nice role. I think he's going to have maybe four or five catches, and I think he has probably like 60 yards on the ground. So with that floor right there is pretty solid for me for PPR. So if I can get somebody with probably might have a touchdown, four catches, and maybe 60 yards on the ground, I'm going to go with that. But at the same time, I do think T. Higgins has the highest ceiling, and he could go for 150 yards and eight catches. So depending on what you're looking for in your lineup, I'd probably go Mike Davis personally, but I would not hate you if you went T. Higgins for the upside.
I
Yeah,
don't even have to. I
right.
don't even have to really say anything about this decision because he said everything that I would say. And that is,
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. If you need the floor play, Mike Davis is your guy. I'll add just a little bit of why you should feel even more comfortable. Okay, Wayne Gallman isn't inactive. Obviously he was just recently picked up by the Falcons. So you're talking about Cordero Patterson being listed. He's actually listed on that depth chart as the RB2, and that's not Cordero Patterson's role. Okay, you're talking about a converted wide receiver who's going to he's going to have some gimmick style plays. He's going to be that jack of all trades type guy, but you're talking maybe he sees 6 to 8 touches today. Mike Davis should have a huge, workload, workhorse back. So that's me as well. Everything else that you said was spot on money, I'd say.
Yeah, I think first week it's too early to risk so much. T. Higgins is going to get usage. T. Higgins is going to get some points, but Mike Davis is your solid play. He's going to get the carries. He's gonna get those yardages out of the backfield, and I think he's just the pick this week.
Do you guys feel that energy, man? We're about 15 minutes away from real football. We are 15 minutes away, fellas. I'm freaking excited. I know that, we all have lineups, and we may be doing DFS. You guys are, we're here for the listeners. We're here for the followers. We love to be interactive. We're going to be streaming every week. Sundays, especially probably around 9 a.m. mark, give or take a few minutes, guys. And in terms of like our actual run pass option, podcast, we really are looking forward to take it to the next level. We did a season last year. Me and Matt went solid. Keith joined us on plenty of shows, and we're looking to be back and better. And we're excited to give you guys the options that we see in our head, in the thought process that we go through: low floor, high ceiling, matchup against a top three defense. Oh, you don't want to start that guy. you always want to start, George Kittle, no matter who it is, because it doesn't matter. He's going to get plays, he's going to get targets, he's going to get touchdowns. There's just so many things that are going to go into our thought process. We're excited for you guys to carry along the journey. Do you guys have any thoughts on before we get going here, fellas? I know we wanted to talk about our fantasy football MVPs too, but I wanted to really tell everybody, that hey, we're just as excited as you guys are. Feels like Christmas to us. And we'll end the show with some fantasy MVPs for QB, wide receiver, tight end, and RB.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, one thing I want to mention before that,
yes,
Zach Moss and Trey Sermon are healthy and active.
Healthy and active. Wow.
Yeah, they're just scratched. So I don't know about you guys, but I have quite a bit of shares of both of those guys because I think Sermon can take that starting role and Zach Moss.
Well, I tell you what, as we talk about that, I'll do one quick plug for us for the leagues that we're in. Okay, so I've got Devin Singletary and Zach Moss in that Superflex league that the three of us are in. Both guys were on my bench in terms of lineup decisions. This for our listeners, this is a super deep Superflex league. It was a 20 round league that the three of us are in together on this, and so it's 20 round 3-person keeper league. So that there's a lot of running backs that weren't available on the board in this league. For myself personally, I'm starting Jamal Williams this week. I'm starting Mike Davis this week, and I did not have either one of the Bills running backs in like a flex spot, but I will literally be jumping over here in just a second to probably throw Devin
Singletary
into a flex spot and swapping Sterling Shepard out. So that was one thing that we had mentioned a couple weeks back on show that we were kind of excited to share with you guys because this year the three of us are actually you two guys have been playing in leagues together for a while. This year I was able to get into a couple with you, and so I told the crowd, told our listeners that I'd want to bring that up on a weekly basis in terms of the happenings with us. So I will throw that out there.
Trades too.
Yep. There's a lot that goes down between the three guys here on the show. Between each other.
Down.
I'm pretty excited for the fact that David has like no quality quarterback in that Superflex league, and I'm rolling out Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. So I'm pretty excited for what that lineup capability is for me this year. So that's just a little love to the listeners. Keep you guys knowing what we've got going on and some changes I'll be making within my own lineup based off the information we've learned this morning.
Hey, David,
the one thing
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, man. See, the one thing you guys got to know about me, listeners, is that my team's going to be totally different by week 3. Just know that, fellas.
I know.
We're going to have to get some trades going. I do. All right, fantasy football MVPs. Fantasy football MVPs. Let's go with your tight end MVP, Matt. What about your tight end MVP for the season? What is your prediction? It doesn't have to, just your prediction, your bold prediction.
Oh, Keith is gone. George Kittle is my MVP tight end. I think this season he'll stay healthy. Well, I guess I hope he stays healthy. And if he does, I think he'll finally earn the crown of the number 1 tight end in the league over Waller and Kelsey.
I really like that pick. Obviously, George Kittle's a rock star. He's a fun guy to follow. I'm gonna say TJ Hawkinson, and I don't think he's gonna be the number 1 tight end overall, but I think where you got him as a steal in your ADP. So he's gonna be like an MVP for your roster. A mid-round guy who just produces at like a top level. So we're just saying that who our tight end MVPs are. He went with George Kittle. He thinks is going to be probably one of the tight end number 1 overall over Kel's bold prediction. And I said that, I don't necessarily think this guy is going to be the MVP of tight ends, but I think that where you drafted him, I think TJ Hawkinson is going to be a superstar for you. And return value, it's like at 2nd or 3rd round. So, how about you,
Yeah,
Keith?
I think that's how I'm kind of, before Keith goes, I'm going with this as more the valuable compared to where you got him.
ADP value,
Yeah.
ADP, a guy that is just going to smash for value.
Definitely, and as we look at that, and I apologize for, like I said, I literally jumped out so I could make that lineup change real quick. I had to get that done. As much as I love podcasting and doing what we do, I gotta make sure that we're set the way we need to be set personally.
Yes, sir.
So to carry that lineup change real fast. So, as exactly like you guys were saying, as we talk about the tight end landscape, everybody knows the top three. There's strong. Kelsey's been the number one at that position for 5 years in a row. How close is Waller going to be beating down the door and those things? Kelsey says he feels him coming up strong. All those types of things. And then we talk about that next tier of guys, and there was a ton of talk this summer talking about it's some I think probably 75% of the sites I looked at and guys that we follow and engage in on Twitter were like, don't do the mid-round deal at tight end with tight end 4s through like tight end 8, talking about saying guys don't overdraft Andrews, don't overdraft Hawkinson, don't overdraft Pitts, don't overdraft Goddard. But I tell you what, again, you have to be fluid. We talk about it on this pretty much weekly, guys. You have to be fluid with the information that you know. And again, knowing that Mark Andrews is like the one healthy pass catcher for that Ravens team coming into the year, I absolutely love the fact that I was able to get him in the 6th round. And that's kind of where he was going. He was kind of in that 5 to 7 round range. I seriously considered taking him in another draft. Where I already drafted Kelsey in the 1st round this year in the redraft. I got Kelsey at pick 11 in the 1st, and we rolled into the 5th round, and I was sitting there, and it was between him and ETN, and I went ETN, and obviously we know how that worked out for me. And I thought heavily about going Andrews in this particular draft because I was going to roll Andrews at my tight end spot and roll Kelsey at the flex. Obviously, I didn't do it. In retrospect, wish I would have. But Andrews, I tell you what, depending on what we get out of Watkins, he might have a week 1 blow up. He seems like he does every year, and then he completely just fades away. So there's a chance that Andrews, really, I mean, he fell off a little bit last year, 2 years ago, phenomenal. But this year, I don't think we're going to see Lamar Jackson being put at risk as much as we have. Okay. So that's the caveat. I personally don't think we see Lamar Jackson, running as much as we did. I think they're going to try and throw a bit more, and it's going to be Andrews' show. So Mark Andrews, I think Andrews got a chance to bust into the top 3 range, not overtake the number 1 spot. But I think by the year end, we could see him as number 2 or number 3 overall, realistically.
I like
The
it.
bold pick right there.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like how all 3 of us didn't, necessarily, our reasoning is deductive. And I can see all 3, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, having a hell of a year. And even if you don't become the number 1 tight end overall, it doesn't really matter as long as you're smashing where you got that value. So, wide receiver, I think I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley. I think that he can take that next step with no Julio Jones. I think Matt Ryan and him have developed an amazing rapport. He plays a lot of his games indoor in the dome. And, the way I see it is, 1,500 yards, over 10 TDs, and where you got him, a little bit below like a DeAndre Hopkins, below a Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, and he's going to put up similar numbers is an amazing value to me. How about you guys?
So, going off of what we saw on Thursday night here, guys, and I'm gonna do a dual action right here, actually, just to knock both of them out of the way real quick. Dak Prescott gonna be my quarterback smash pick for the year. I think what we saw Thursday night is actually going to carry through a lot more than people think. Twitter reaction off that thing is telling everybody don't freak on Zeke. They were going against a loaded box and that run defense from the Bucks. No, I think we've got 6 games of that style of game script talking back to last year in the first 5. and the numbers that Dak was putting up and how they ran that offense with Kellen Moore calling the shots. And we come into week one, we've seen the same thing. Okay. So 6 games is enough of a show for me to really firmly believe that Dak Prescott's going to come out this year and probably shatter the record for passing attempts in a season, probably shatter the record for passing yards in a season, okay, and probably completions. So completions, attempts, and yardage in a 17-game season for the first time, for us, 18 weeks of football. Yeah, Dak's going to rewrite the record books. I think that carries through. On the flip end, I'm not taking a Cowboys wide receiver. I'm actually going to go Chris Godwin. Okay, I'm going to go Chris Godwin because to me, we're coming off of, seeing him. I believe he had 14 targets the other night. He's a combination style player for Brady, though. Just in terms of what he does, it's what he's been comfortable with an Edelman, with a Wes Welker type role previously. But Godwin's a better talent than both those guys. Okay, so when you put him in that position to be that successful, along with his talent, and the fact that he can line up inside and outside, he is gonna, he's my wide receiver smash spot for the year. So you've heard my quarterback, my wide receiver, and my tight end, guys.
Very nice, very nice. Matt, you wanna name your last couple ones before we get going on, so you can give you a minute or two to get your lineups
I can
situated.
just do it real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Dalvin Cook. I think this season he will prove, kind of similar to Kittle, that he can be the number 1 running back overall. And getting him, 4th, 5th pick would be amazing this season. He's a beast. I mean, there's no denying it. It's just I think he's overshadowed by guys like Kamara and McCaffrey. Calvin Ridley, I think he'll take another step forward this season, becoming a top 2 to 3 wide receiver. With Matt Ryan still there, he's going to be a beast this season. And then Russell Wilson, he's always top 5, top 6. I think that he can make a step forward this year. I think the wide receiver core this year is the best that he's ever had. And I really think that because of that, he's going to really be a guy to own.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I'll go for running back, I'll go Aaron Jones. For quarterback, I'll go Kyler Murray. I said tight end and I said wide receiver. So, I think that this year is going to be fun, guys. I think that we have our best streams ahead of us. And I hope you guys are following along the journey. We're answering questions online or in person live. If you want to join the show, shoot us a message, DM, add us. But we're happy to be here. It's 9:58, 2 minutes till football. Any closing thoughts, fellas?
No, I'll reiterate the same thing you just said. Feel free to look us all up on Twitter, guys. We'll DM us. We'll answer your questions personally. I know I had a couple guys last year that were really active with us, and so they hit me up after shows a lot. Absolutely love doing that for you guys. And Aaron Jones is also my running back smash pick for the year, so I'll piggyback on with that. And with that, guys, I'm out ski. I gotta get some lineups set. Thank you,
sir.
and best of luck week 1.
Take care, everyone.
See you guys.